Oh, look like we live now. Look like we live now, gang. Look like we live now. We need some folk to get up in here. Tell me if my mic is coming through. See if my mic. Won't, 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 won't. Young nigga, 16, hey, and I got. Oh, shit. Let me see here, man. Let's get some folks up in here. Get some folks up in here, man. We about to talk about the age of the intellect. The age of the intellect. And that's the thing that I found out. Okay.
And that's the thing that I
All
found out.
right. This sound like the sound coming through clear. We didn't have a Know Thyself Sundays today. So if anybody's mad at that, then whoop de doo. But we will do it next Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday. We will be back next Sunday with the Know Thyself Sundays. Today we're about to tap into some shit that, you know, that's already been said, but probably needs to be further spoken about. We are living in the age of the illusion, right? We're living in the age of the illusion. What do I mean by the age of illusion? All ages are really a fucking illusion, but just for good chatty patty purposes here, we can call this the age of illusions. Why am I saying that? And I'm saying this simply because the simple fact remains that everything here seems to be a shtick around the intellect. We seem to have made the intellect the most superior thing. That's why I say this is the age of the intellect. Or we can be dealing with, and this directly ties into the age of artificial intelligence, right? This will directly tie into artificial intelligence. I see my chair ripping up back there. Y'all can cash at me and send me some tips, and maybe one day I'll be able to get me a nicer chair. But the intellect wants to find out shit that's wrong and try to fucking fix it, right? So then that's the gauge that we're using here to gauge with. I was recently watching um what's the show on Netflix? Terminator Zero, right? Watching Terminator Zero, and everybody already knows the story of Terminator. And let's just talk about, let's just say, artificial intelligence in general. What do we know about artificial intelligence? You know what I'm saying? Why are people fucking afraid of artificial intelligence? Especially spiritual people. You know what I'm saying? Ones who supposed to be knowing all the shit, you know what I'm saying, still for some reason has some fear. And they won't say that it's fear, but no, it's just not natural. It's not natural. It's not natural. It's not natural. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got the real whatever that we wanna figure out to shun whatever this fucking artificial intellectual intelligence is and is becoming. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we want to use to bash it, and we may use it in a term like, I ain't scared of it, but it's just not natural. Like, you scared, you in fear of it, or you wouldn't have really no, you know, because you got to see, you got to understand. I'm getting to something here. You got to see, and you have to understand what the fuck is actually going on here. What you're trying to do on a if y'all just joined, it, please hit the like button. What you're trying to do here is try to create a long term life, eternal life in in a not so eternal place, in a transient place, in a place that perishes. The manifest reality. And you're not seeing that the intellect is building this shit up. This is the Aquarian age. Mothra, S-O motherfucking P, what's happening? This is the Aquarian age. So your intellect, the age of information, they like to quote it as. What is information? What is information? How does information come about? That is your intellect. This is why we have so many goddamn spiritual concepts. I seen one dude that was a Christian. He got a point. He talked about so-called New Age spirituality in his own little manner. Some parts I disagree with, and some I agree with, but holistically, all of it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the fuck. And he's going down through astrology. People doing astrology, and people saying shit about the dimensions, and people talking about this, and people talking about that, and I get it. Because what I see holistically, when I see that whole list, I see nothing but concepts. Right? Now I'm able to see nothing but concepts. All of these concepts. And it's like, you pick this concept, I pick this concept. You pick that concept, I pick this concept. You pick this concept, they pick that concept. It's just like a whole bunch of concepts. But here's the thing about it. The thing that's always behind it is the founding principle, which nobody's going for. Nobody's going for the founding principle that we talk about here on this channel. Nobody's going for that. Everybody's getting lost in the content. Nobody's paying attention to the concept. Everybody's getting lost on the map. Nobody's paying attention to the actual territory. So within this age of information, what I'm noticing here is simply, hold up. What I'm simply noticing here is this. It's simple. You people want to feel more. Oh, what's up with my fucking what's the name? Hold up, y'all. We are running more and more to the intellect as a savior. And what we're thinking we're doing, because we're getting an understanding of more conceptual knowledge of spirituality, we think we're advancing. And you're not. You're building up the illusion even stronger. You think you're getting more power, you think you're advancing because you're getting more spiritual concepts, because you can break down X, Y, motherfucking Z. I'm talking about to the T. You breaking 8 is 717. You breaking down XYZ down to the T. And you can just spit that shit out to the folks, and the folks like, damn, bro, deep. Like, he deep as hell. Like, damn, I ain't never heard nobody say that. Then over time, yeah, nigga. Yeah. You feeling like you got it. But once you understand, that's why I fuck with the OG Bobby. Bobby told you to study all of this shit. You study this African shit, Egypt, all of that. You study this Indian shit. You study this Greek shit, this European shit. You study this ancient America, South America, North America, Central American shit, Timeri, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Turtle Island. You study all this shit, and you're supposed to get a grand overview of all of this shit. That's what I've done. And that's why I'm here to talk to you the way that I talk to you. Because this shit don't be profound, for real, bro. The most profound thing is nothingness appearing as everything. That's it. It's that simple. Nothingness appearing as fucking everything. But here's my take on it. You got nothingness appearing as everything, and everything in between. Everything in between is nothing but the mind. Everything in between is nothing but the mind. The four worlds, the goddamn seven planes, is nothing but the mind. Where the fuck y'all at tonight? It's nothing but the mind, though. All the concepts that we can use and have been using are nothing but concepts of the mind. And what we're doing, we're strengthening those under the disguise of that we're advancing. That is the trick of Maya. That is the play of Maya. Maya says, hey, you know what? Let's add a little bit of this and let's add a little bit of that. Facts. What Martha just said. Addiction to concepts shows a fear of the reality of nothing. The ego don't want that. The mind, you got to think about that. Why would the mind want to succumb to nothing? Why would the mind want to succumb to nothing? What benefit does it have of that? It wants to continue to create. That's what I'm saying. It's not evil, but you have to know the difference of knowing thyself or knowing the self, which is the beginning and the end. It's the beginning and the end of a so-called journey that you figure out that there was not a journey. That you figure out that there is no reason for a practice. Once you do the practices, you figure that out. I'm not saying don't do practices, but what I'm just trying to say here, you ultimately realize that. So what every spiritual system is, nonetheless, whether it's spiritual intellect, I don't know what word to give it, but nonetheless, it's intellect. When they create signs and symbols, the intellect has to put those together. Of course, when you cool, what's happening? What's happening? Of course, when you have a spiritual profound experience and you can't put it into words, you know what I'm saying? You may come back with a symbol, but you got to understand those symbols are put together by the buddhi or the intellect and the ego. They are tools. They are used just like that, and that's what they use for. So you got to understand with us living in the age of the intellect, well, that's where I was going. With us living in the age of the intellect, or the age of information, or the age of Aquarius, maybe somebody who does astrology can break this down even more. I'm calling it the age of the intellect. Look around in America. I was reading Maharaj. Maharaj talked about his spiritual teachings. And they was like, he asked one dude that was from America a question. He's like, oh, I'm not really qualified to answer. Maybe one of these people here in who's sitting here from India, they probably can further profound or go in on the concept of a Gyani and what that is before I can. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. He's like, these Indians, they want nothing but what the West does. They're on to the next scientific advancement, intellectual advancement. They don't want spirituality. They don't want this type of stuff. They accept it if the West says that it's good. That's literally what Maharaj said. So even them over there, they not studying this shit. They doing it as form of a pattern. And I'm obviously I can't say everybody, but speaking from the understanding that he gave, it's obvious. How many have you met over here? They about getting money. Them niggas about getting money. I ain't mad at them. Do your thing. That ain't what we talking about here. So this intellect, the buddhi. Now, what I'm trying to get to here is that the intellect is the ultimate destroyer. It's also the ultimate builder, just like the mind. The mind ultimately builds up things that ultimately is going to destroy it. Check out where I'm going with this. The mind ultimately builds up problems for itself. It bitches, whines, and moans about the problems that it's built. No, yeah, it builds up those problems, and ultimately it's going to have to break it down. And in that aspect, it's breaking itself down as well. So it's a builder and a destroyer. If you want to go that the mind is supreme, I'm here to tell you that the mind is not. The mind is supreme illusion. So if you understand that this intellect is the ultimate builder and the destroyer, sounds a lot like some Bina shit, don't it? If you know the tree of life. It's building and destroying, building and destroying, building and destroying, gang. The mind builds up problems. It creates problems and then has to create a solution. And within creating that solution, it creates another problem. And then creating that problem, it creates a solution, then it creates another problem. This is what your mind is doing. Sit and think about that. That's what the fuck it does. It fuck with itself doing that type of shit. Now, do you not see the same exact pattern in so-called the world? Because you don't know shit about no other planets. Stop the cap. You don't have no direct experience of any other motherfucking planets. Your ASAP, your everyday, day-to-day experience, what we call the world. What you call the world, but that's a concept within itself too. Do you not see the same motherfucking patterns in the world? Now that we've entered the age of intellect, the age of information, the overflooding of fucking information. Now here comes everybody scared of fucking AI. AI is the ultimate. Maybe I shouldn't use the word ultimate, but whatever. Let's use it for just for this. AI is the ultimate heightened height of the fucking intellect. You picking up what I'm putting down? The intellect is the builder and the destroyer of itself. Because that's ultimately all that's stopping you from realizing self is your fucking intellect. You know too many fucking spiritual concepts. And that's just on spirituality, not just in the worldly shit. Because now we have this thing of where spiritual people are becoming overly intellectual. And that's another thing that Christian dude was posting. It's like, see, people run to all of these new age spiritual concepts because they can't deal with surrender. And I'm like, well, now all the Christians is about that surrendering shit. Because what he's saying is true. But obviously it's not all, everybody's not all about that in that faith. Nor is everybody about it in any faith. There's only a select few who understand. Because when we're dealing with the path of knowledge of the self, you're going to end up surrendering. What's surrendering? No obstacles will apprehend you. Whatever the fuck it is what it is. I will not be stopped. Who the true self will not be stopped from realizing itself. I will be put in every position that I need be in. When I say position be put in, I'm talking about the lowercase self at that point, but nonetheless. This intellect is the ultimate destroyer of itself. But here's the problem. You take yourself to be the intellect. You take yourself to be the mind. That's the problem. You think you are your mind and your intellect. This is what Bobby meant when he said stop thinking like a fucking human. Stop thinking like a fucking human will stop using your intellectual, logical, egotistical process to have an understanding of what can't be understood by those things, bro. Let me damn, I'm missing comments. I was reading something today about once you see the unity of nothing, then embracing it becomes an art. Don Tree said, "Peace. What's up, Don Tree? When people come at me with fear, it's amusing to me now. Facts. Understood that. Understood that. Talking about once you see the unity of nothing, then embracing it becomes an art. So it's like now the artificial intelligence is the heightened of the intellect. I think Panic even spoke about this, but I see it in my own perspective, right? It's going to be the ultimate destroyer of this shit. It's going to be the ultimate destroyer of this shit. So why be mad at the intellect? You're just supposed to stop identifying with the intellect. See, what happens when you get in fear? Something needs protection. The mind and the body, it needs a protection. So it comes up with concepts. What a man should be. What a high value man or a woman is. A lot of Western shit. Or you take it over there to the East. What a man is and what a woman is over there. Or you take it to the goddamn Antarctica. I don't know. Take it somewhere. Everybody has fucking concepts of what's fucking superior, and you niggas is getting very intellectual with your you making intellect the superiority statue or the superiority state or the most divine shit is how you can intellectually understand these spiritual concepts. You have to understand that you are beyond the concepts. You are beyond the words. I don't give a fuck what teachings you getting from here, from anywhere. You beyond the fucking intellect in the words. If y'all just join and hit the like button. The intellect is the ultimate destroyer of itself. It's the ultimate builder of itself and destroyer of itself. The intellect, the ego, the mind, all the same shit. But I see we not getting this shit though. We're not getting this shit though. I'm not saying throw the intellect away. The motherfucker is used to for your human body and mind to move through everyday life. But I'm telling you, stop identifying with it. You thinking it's superior. That's why I focus on the founding principles. You get your four elements, you get your Purusha and Prakriti, you get your three gunas, and you get your pure consciousness and awareness. Understand all of that shit is a wrap. What the fuck else is there to really prolificate on? We can sit here and chit chat, woot, 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 woot. Yeah, I get it. Nonetheless. But don't, at this point, when you get to that point of trying to or having an earnest drive to know the self, all of that shit don't mean shit. It's just cool shit to know. Because they're all products of the mind. I know that's hard to fucking accept. But all of that shit, all that profound knowledge is nothing but products of the fucking mind. Well, you know aliens coming on what planets is doing this, or who coming from another planet or another dimension who's living in the inner earth, how many dimensions there are and how to work through it. Even you know what I'm saying? That shit even goes down to our rituals and all of that shit. You are beyond that shit. Do what needs to be done so that one can realize the self. Don't get me wrong. But know that the doing is not what you're doing. Now, I'm going back to watching this show of Terminator Zero. Terminator Zero is on YouTube. Terminator Zero is on YouTube, and it's obviously they got this guy on there, black guy, right? He's an intellectual motherfucker. He's high end on in artificial intelligence and then running companies and all of that shit. And he's built this artificial intelligence. Come to find out, he actually come from the future. You've all seen fucking Terminator. You know what I'm saying? So he's built this up. He got 3 kids, and he's even built up a fucking robot to protect the kids while he goes to work. And he knows this day is coming up. He knows this day is coming up, and when this day comes up, this is gonna be the end of the world. Nuke's gonna be set off by Skynet. Skynet gonna go online and do all of that shit, right? So he tries to solve the problem with his intellect, right? He tried to solve the problem of AI destroying the world with his intellect. What built artificial intelligence? Are you getting what I'm saying here? The human intellect built up artificial intelligence, and it's going to destroy the humans in the show. I'm not trying to predict the future here, but in the show. And I'm taking that as an example of what the intellect does. It's not giving the goal of freedom. Yes, you can use more AI to have more time, take back your time, so called, whatever they say. But what are you taking back your time to do? Hold up, y'all. Gotta put my shit on D&D. The fuck are you taking back your time to do? To be more fucking intellectual and prolificate on shit? And sound more motherfucking smarter than the next person? They say a lot of people went through some shit. If y'all joining, please hit that like button. They say a lot of motherfuckers when COVID came, motherfuckers went through a mental depression because they had to sit back at the crib and do something with themselves. Motherfucker can sit still. Motherfucker can do nothing. Motherfucker can pull out paint. Motherfucker couldn't sit there and like, damn, who am I? That's scary. The intellect don't like that. It likes to have shits to do. Let's do a whole bunch of shits. It's a whole bunch of shits to do. Whole bunch of shit. Damn, I'm missing comments. Remembering unattachment. It's OP. What's happening? What's happening? Yo, much love, my Gnosis and the fam. Peace, Rose of Flame. What's happening? What's happening? Sadia, peace. Yeah. Let me say, when we put perception to things, we tarnish our ability to see it purely. Facts. And that's what we're doing. We got to understand that's what the intellect is doing. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, bro. This is what I've realized about all spirituality. It's nothing but the intellect coming up with a reason. It's trying to come up with a reason. It's trying to come up with a causality. What if there is no fucking cause? Think about that. What if there is no fucking cause for none of this shit? But I tell you what, I can't answer that. But what I can answer, what does the intellect do now? It tries to give meaning to everything. And by way, that may be good in a certain sense. But once you give so much meaning to so much shit, don't that mind crash down on itself? Tell me I'm lying. Once you got so many meanings about so much shit, you can't even function. That's what's happening in spirituality. You niggas have grabbed so many motherfucking concepts. You have gave so much meaning to so much shit. Human mind has come up with, reincarnation. We can't even, like, bro, we don't even know who the fuck we was before birth. We don't know what's happening after birth. Human beings come up with the shit. We come up with the shit and give the shit life. We give the spiritual concepts life. That's what makes it real. We're talking about a next birth and past birth, and we don't know shit about this birth. We don't remember being born in this motherfucker. That's the experience I'm about to have when I'm having my son. I'm going to be able to watch how this shit arises in this motherfucker. And then the child will start noticing that, I exist. We don't know who we are prior to birth. We born in this motherfucker. Motherfuckers told us we were born. And then slap a name on us. And slap a gender on us. Slap a race on us. Slap some history on us. And by recognition of that pattern, we stick with it and identify with it. Let the mind go, Mantra says. Once you get to the other side, you let the mind go. So all of these concepts, spiritually, we're giving them meaning. We're coming up with something. Who's doing that? That's the intellect. What I told y'all, the intellect connects dots. The intellect connects dots, even if there's nothing to be connected. It connects it. And this is amongst, I'm saying this here in your face, this is amongst all spiritual systems. All spiritual systems are nothing but the intellect, even though it's spiritual. It's nothing but the intellect of connecting dots. That does not diminish it. That's just showing what it is, not what I want it to be. That's exactly just what the fuck it is. Because the ego gets triggered when it has to go, when you put it on the search to see who I am, see who that I am is. You got to understand there cannot be a two without the one first. That's first principle basis thinking. There cannot be a two without the one first. There has to be an I before I can say them, they. If I can say them and they, there has to be a reference to this one point of the I. Nobody's questioning that. Nobody's trying to figure out who the I is. Oh, I'm this and I'm a God and I'm this. Before there can be a God, there has to be the I to say that there's a God or goddess, whatever one you prefer. There has to be an I to say there's a astral plane, an etheric plane, a mental plane, a causal plane. Who comes up with this shit? Nothing but the intellect. Let's say the collective intellect. The matrix is the intellect, the mind, the ego, the mind stuff, the memories that sit in the etheric plane, that sit in the akasha. But you have to understand that's all down here in the manifest reality. So the ego builds itself up and then ultimately destroys itself. That's the same thing that I'm seeing that's happening with artificial intelligence. Humans are in fear of artificial intelligence because their ego is in fear. And they use a coverall concept like, oh, it's not natural. What the fuck is natural? What the fuck is really natural? No one's questioning these things. I have no problem with artificial intelligence. That doesn't mean I'm gonna hook my fucking brain up to a goddamn computer chip. God damn it, we damn near already hooked up to the motherfucker anyway. You know what I'm saying? So even if we go back to the principle using cause and effect, every cause has an effect, and within that cause, there's already the desired effect or multitudes of effects. There's a range of effects. You can't take wood and make fucking banana pudding with it, but you can take bananas and make some pudding with it with the rest of the ingredients. You get where I'm going with this. So what are we doing here? Because what it is the intellect can be used, but it's only going to get you so far. In so far or ain't so far. It's only going to get you ain't so far. And that's the whole talk about Doth. You're not going to be able to take that shit up there, buddy. You're not going to be able to take these concepts here. This is some Doth talk. You're not going to be able to take that there. It's really not going nowhere, but nonetheless, you're not going to be able to enter the kingdom with that identity of all these concepts you think you done got and you think you deep. This is a realization I had to have with myself. We're not talking about how to walk around and be better fucking humans. We can have those sessions and talk about being a better fucking girlfriend or a better fucking person at your job, or, you know what I'm saying, nicer to your parent. We can have those conversations. This is not that conversation tonight, gang. You want to know what the illusion is? You are it. When I say you, I mean you as the intellect, because that's what you identify with: your mind, your body, and your intellect, and your ego. That's what you are identifying with. That's why when we talk, I talk like, well, the body mind is doing that, but I ain't doing shit. I'm making a separation. Why you in this human? The Hindus say, goddamn it, you got 84 million goddamn lifetimes before you even hear the word enlightenment uttered. Not before you get enlightenment, before you even can hear the word or the concept of enlightenment. 84 million motherfucking lifetimes, nigga. For some, it may take 4,000 more if that even exists, because that's a concept. But let's play around with that, because that's common rhetoric among spirituality. Because that's the intellect giving meaning to things that it has no idea what the fuck it is. Let's be real. Only thing that you know from direct experience is that you are the observer of all of this shit. Anything else is play. Even that observer shit is play, but that's another story. But anything else is play. Ego is the fucking matrix. Ego, mind, intellect, all of those one thing. It's the fucking matrix. It's creating this shit. And then, and you get another representation of that. How do you know? What artificial intelligence has been put in the movies and done to do. An intellectual smart guy like fucking Elon Musk or something comes up with fucking Skynet and turns fucking Skynet on. And Skynet finds out humanity is the threat to its existence. What is the intellect going to do when it's common sense that there's something threatening its existence? What is it going to do? It's going to destroy the thing that's a threat to its existence. So what is the ego going to do? What is the intellect going to do? It's going to destroy you. It's going to try to stop you from getting to know thyself. How is it going to do that? It's going to come up with more fucking deep concepts. It's no, it ultimately can't stop you, but what it can halt you by giving you more shit to identify with. It's gonna give you more shit to identify with. Can you get that? The ego is gonna give you more shit to identify with. It ultimately can't stop you from being the self because you already are the self. But it can't keep putting shit in front of your face so you can be like, hold on, what's that? Hold on, what's that? Intellect just like this. Hold on, what's that? Hold on. Concept. I need to get this level. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. You got to understand that's the nature of the mind, bro. The nature of the mind is rajasic or rajas, active. You don't get a peace of mind. There's no such thing as a peace of mind. I'm going to tell you that now. The mind has nothing to do with peace. It's the opposite of peace. Oh, yeah, cool. What's her name? Tripping tonight. The mind is opposite of peace. But you, the self, is nothing but peace. You are nothing but that bliss that they call it. You're nothing but that silence. You are the observer of the mind. That is your direct experience. And if you keep ignoring it, I don't know what the fuck to do for you. I ain't shit I can do no way but point you. These conversations are to help remove the ignorance. When we identify with ignorance, what is ignorance? The mind. The mind is ignorance. And as it was written and as it is said, anything that you can, any word that you can use to describe this shit is ultimately not it. Anything that you can use to describe who you are, any concept in a word is ultimately not it. It's ignorance. The artificial intelligence turned on in the show. Obviously, we know about Skynet, which is artificial intellect. Let's just say that. Intellect is artificial anyway. It's created, it's made. The self is not created and made. It just is. It just is. And that's where it comes into the surrender. You have to just, it just is. You ain't got to intellectually explain it because you're not going to be able to intellectually explain it. The intellect can't go there. The intellect, with itself trying to diverge the attention from being put on the self, gives the body and the rest of the mind, the rest of the levels of the mind, something to do. It takes those repetitious patterns, aka memories, some scars, mental impressions, and builds upon those and creates a feature, creates a thing called time. Now we have time of the future and the past. We're thinking about the past and we're trying to get to the fucking future. It's the intellect and the mind playing the game here. So now it's in between this, and now it's trying to build up something else in the future. It's trying to keep diverging, keep kicking the can down the road to stay from putting the attention on the self. Because maybe it knows, maybe it doesn't. Matter of fact, it does not know. And that's the problem. The intellect, when it does not know things, it's fearing the unknown. The intellect is fearing the unknown. So it's going to keep giving the intellect, it's going to keep giving the mind and the body something to do. So now we have all these AI fucking tools, which are ultimately going to become the destroyer. I'm not talking about the planet's going to blow up. I'm not talking about that type of shit. But I am talking about that type of shit. It's a paradox here. Do what thou wilt with that shit. But artificial intelligence is showing you what the ego does. The intellect is trying to diverge you from doing, from putting attention on the self by giving you more fancier shit and cooler shit and smarter shit to do. You're gonna ultimately come to that point where Skynet comes on, and Skynet is gonna be the destruction of it. The product of the intellect is going to destroy the intellect. This is what's going to happen, and all that's going to be left is the self. Now, tell me, is this not your same life path? All the shit that you have identified with and tried to build up, does it not all back come crumbling the fuck back down? Don't when you get your money go all the way up and it comes all the way to back the fuck down. When you're in relationships, don't it get to a heightened point and then it comes back down? Get to a heightened point and then come back down? The key to the trick here is this, not identifying with those highs and lows. You are the observer of those highs and lows. So when you're getting those points in relationships, or you're getting those points with money, or you're getting those points with those false ass careers that you have taken upon yourself to be you, if you achieve something at school, you start to identify yourself, oh, I'm a doctor, or I'm a, or I'm a, all of that shit comes the fuck crumbling down. It always does. I'm just walking, I'm just observing the whole fucking planet. One day you're a parent, then the next day your kids don't want shit to do with you. I gotta accept that that's gonna be the reality with my son coming into this world. Yes, I can laugh at it. It might not be the funniest thing then, but I'm pretty sure with my mindset, with the mind, it'll be able to still laugh at it. You're placing your identities on experiences, and experiences come and go. We keep running from that still point, that one pointedness, that cosmic P. We running from it because you don't know what comes with it. What did they say with Buddha? Or one of the Buddhists said, before enlightenment, I walked up the hill, I chopped the tree, and brought down the wood. After enlightenment, I walked up the hill, chopped the tree, and brought down the fucking wood. The play continues, nigga. The movie continues, nigga. But you are not identified as fucking Neo. You don't think you fucking Neo and going through the ups and downs as Neo. The body and mind, that character is still playing out. Your character's still going to be playing out. It's automatic, systematic. You just think you're doing something. I hope this shit is reaching somebody because I'm saying something here. I don't give a fuck what spiritual concept you run around with. That's deep. Or some shit that ain't nobody else talking about. It's nothing but the realm of the mind. Okay, okay. And then Don Tree said, nature is the doer. That was the fine say you hit. This spiritual shit not deep, bro. Not to me no more, bro. I'm gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. My focus is for us to get the principles down. We need to be able to get the principles down, bro. I'm not trying to take you to learn about all the demons and the gods. Because they gotta stand on the three principles. These guys are either gonna be of sattvic nature, stillness, bliss, a balanced nature, or they're going to be of the rajasic nature, the breaking down. I mean, the active nature, which is the building, it can be building up. And then you got the tamasic nature of the breaking down. Whatever God, I don't have to know them. You tell me a summary of them, I can tell you which one they land up under. And then they'll be placed amongst the five elements: Akasha, earth, air, water, and fire. That's it. Then you have the observer and the thing that's being observed and moving. And this motherfucker just back there watching. Purusha and Prakriti, Shiva and Shakti, Isis and Osiris. Understand the fucking principles. Or you can go deep into the content and get lost in that shit, nigga. Because that's what ultimately is happening with spirituality. Everybody's going deep into the content and not understanding the context. But what is that? What's the cause of that? If we want to say that there's a cause, what's the cause of that? The intellect. The intellect. The fucking intellect is the cause of that. But the intellect ultimately is going to destroy itself. And then there's going to be nothing left but the self. Here's the thing about it. I talked to some of my partners. Like I told you when I talked to my partner from jail, serving that sentence, the nigga told me, like, I'm just one of them niggas, bro, who got to bump their head a couple times. Some niggas just gotta bump their heads to get this shit, gang. A lot of goddamn times. Man, we talked about the Hindu saying 84 million goddamn lifetimes. 84 fucking million lifetimes to bump your motherfucking head. Sense of humor is my new practice because it's all just a big cosmic joke. Played on itself. That's it, bro. That's it. This consciousness has just gotten to the point where it starts to identify itself with the body and the mind. That's the only obstacle. What's the only obstacle? Ignorance. That's the only obstacle. And how do you remove ignorance? With knowledge. So what is this ultimately? Knowledge of the self. Gyani. Know thyself. And all you need to know is that the self is none of this. At the same time, it's all of this. It's a fucking paradox. Why is it a paradox? Because this is the place of duality. This is the place of duality. It just is what it is. You see that every day. You don't have to read that in a book. You experience that every day, duality. One person's like this and another person likes this, duality. And that create like something like Trav said last night, it's the game. Some people think the way to beat the game is get out of the game. Yeah, true in the sense of if you identify with the body and the mind, if you think you are this body and this mind, but if you know you're not this body and this mind, the game continues, nigga. That body and the mind is the character in the game. It's CJ from San Andreas. Let CJ from San Andreas still do his shit for Grove Street, nigga. Let him continue to do his shit for Grove Street. The game is going to continue. The play is going to continue. And it becomes funny for a nigga like me. And obviously like Mothra. And whoever the fuck else finds this shit fucking hilarious. Cause you think you doing something. What is spirituality anyway, bro? It's nothing but a whole bunch of systems that have set up and made traditions and cultural practices around patterns. At some point when do you feel like, okay, I get it now. All of this shit is patterns. Here's what the intellect does. It tries to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into those fucking patterns. And before you know it, it's drowning in fucking patterns, aka concepts. See what I mean by how the intellect, the mind is going to destroy itself? As far as this non-dual teaching goes, it's just like pull back from the mind. Know that you are not the mind. Let the mind continue to do what the fuck it's going to do. I'm not studying it. When I say you're not studying it, I'm not giving hella importance to what the mind is trying to do. That's surrendering to the self. That's what's intellectually going on here. Because as you see, I'm the observer of all this shit. I ain't even had to observe myself. But once you get around seeing all this spiritual shit, everybody's saying a whole bunch of intellectual shit. We all are, honestly, because you got to use intellect to put words together. And that's what I'm saying. You're prior to words. Who is that I that knows that it exists before it says the words I? Before it says the words I am? Who is that? Shut the fuck up and think about that. Or don't even think about it. Sit with that. Because that's who you know you are. But you just been caught up in a pattern of giving yourself a title and a name. I might tell a joke, but I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. That's who the fuck you are, and you know that. And you don't know how you know it. And you don't know what it is. You just know that it is. It is what it is. Get your head out your ass, man. Get your head out your ass. Understanding the mind, you understand the illusion. You understand the illusion, you understand that there is no illusion. Ultimately, there's nothing stopping you. Spirituality is based upon a lot of spiritual systems, majority of all spiritual systems are based upon that you have some sin you've committed in the past life or this life. If that's the case, it's got to be in the Bible because why the fuck? It's in every book that you've done something wrong and you have to break through and break free from it. That's what all spiritual systems are hitting on. And that's why I fought with the non-dual system. Because it's not spitting none of that shit. And I mean, and even in the occult shit, it's saying the same shit. There's something that needs to be fixed for you to realize God or realize that you are God. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. It's just a uncovering that needs to be done. It's just the uncovering that needs to be done. It's really that simple. But the intellects want some more deep, profound, intricate shit. That's why when you hear this type of shit, it's like, okay, so what do I do? Okay, yeah, yeah, I heard that, but what do I do? Oh, yeah, I heard that, but what can I do? I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that. I'm just saying that notice how the mind gets to going and wanting more shit to do. Why does it want more shit to do? To keep itself going. Is that not fucking evident? It wants to keep going. It wants to keep the illusion going. It has to, because that's its existence. But it is ignoring the fact that what is prior to it is giving it its existence. You need, well, the body needs the intellect so it can carry out day to day actions. The intellect has been brought heavily over into spirituality. Well, now you can break down all of what all the goddamn planets is doing. And now you can break down what they ancestors has done and what ancestors trying to get in contact with them, and we can pull out these goddamn cards and break down what these sign symbols and shit mean. Not saying none of that. What I'm saying, ultimately, everything is false. So I'm not picking on anything particular. I'm asking you to have the realization that all the things that you can know and think of and conceptualize and experience are all temporary. And you are beyond time. You are eternal. Where you are, who you are, is there is no concept of time. Who you are, you do not know. And you cannot know. Because you use your five senses to know. You use the five elements to know. And you are beyond the senses. You are beyond the mind. I'm telling you not to give so much importance to the mind and realize that you are beyond the mind. That's enlightenment. That's a spirit self-realized master. That's what that is. That simple. They understand that they are the observer of the mind and the whole universe, the whole cosmos, every planet, every dimension, every fucking spiritual concept is within the mind only. And you understand you are not none of those things, then fucking case closed. Your spiritual journey ends. It's not that you go out and get more shit to understand that you are not those things. You just realize you are not those things. That's why we can say what spiritual journey. It's a realization. It's a realization. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That's what these teachers are saying. Remember, I went through the whole shit from how we came in, understanding with the whole occult shit. It's all about quantifying shit, trying to break down shit. That's where that shit comes from. You got to think about that shit, bro. That's why I brought the video up about the OG Christians, like my granny. And I met a Christian lady today, and I picked, like, we had a conversation, and she just had so much worry in her, just so much doubt. I don't like this, and I don't like that, and I don't like this. And I'm like, God damn. I can't wait to say, all right, have a nice day and see you later. It's goddamn. But I took it as a point to observe nonetheless. It's like, damn, caught up in the mind, right? But those OG Christians who didn't have all those worries and fears and doubts. I told y'all about my grandmama. She wasn't rocking like that. She had complete surrender to her God. Nonetheless, a concept, but to her God. Complete surrender. Of course, I'm pretty sure worry popped up in her mind. Of course, I'm pretty sure problems and you know what I'm saying, because my grandmother died from Parkinson's. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff happened. But she solidified that surrender before all of that even had taken place. Niggas don't want to surrender. And that's what the Christian dude was saying on threads. And people trying to come back and intellectualize, break this shit down and this and that to him. You niggas missing the point. That's what I'm talking about. All the spiritual people was coming in trying to attack him. For one, you know niggas gonna attack somebody when they say they're Christian now, because everybody's so much better than Christians. But I'm going through reading the comments. Check this out though. I'm peeping how everybody talking and moving. See, that's why I can't fuck with Christianity, because it don't understand that the age of Aquarius and Mars and Mercury grade retro, and then this and that, and then this and then this really means that, and this really means that, and then Jesus anyway, are you stupid, a white man, and then that did this and that, and then Jesus didn't exist. Y'all know my rhetoric with that nigga. You don't exist. Ultimately, you don't exist. So of course Jesus don't exist. You don't exist. Because nobody's working from the first principal basis. Everybody is working from content. Nobody's working from understanding context. Nobody's moving like that. Because it comes with surrender. That's the problem with the West. It's content based. Gotta post my content, gotta post my content. Content, 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 content. Think about it. Everything is about content. And there's motherfucking a million megabits of fucking content, of information. You want to fill your head up with all of it? You would never remove all of that shit then. 84 more million lifetimes for that ass if you believe in reincarnation. For the mind and the body, obviously reincarnation is real. I mean, hey, I've accepted that for the mind and the body, reincarnation can be real. But for the self, there's something totally different. And all you truly know is what you don't know. And what you do know is that you are the self, the observer. When is the beginning of that? When is the beginning of the observer started? When did that start? No one can tell you. You can tell me when you probably can get to the point when you started observing this body, but observation itself, everybody was just going in on the content. So content filled. But nobody's saying, who am I? Rosa Flame said, I'm loving this talk. Super synchronized. So much love. Like Trav says. Martha said, like Trav said, for every game, there's a way to win it and a way to lose it. Peace, everybody in love. Standing on P, my Gnosis. Peace, 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 my guy. And here's the thing about it. Here's my perspective. You lose the game when you don't recognize that it's a fucking game. When you don't recognize that it's a game, you losing because you so intellectually and emotionally attached to the shit. You ever seen a nigga who get mad and niggas end up fighting when they playing on a game? One person is losing and the other person is, you know what I'm saying, winning. Niggas don't know that it's a game. You can be happy in this game, in this world. Once you understand that you are not, once you know you're free from it. Once CJ gets fucking 5 stars on San Andreas and gets killed by the police, you can rest assured because you know you have not died. That is CJ who has died in the game. You can rest assured. And the game can start over and you can play again. Or you can have played the game so many times you sick of playing San Andreas. You're done. Yes, Zero said you lose the game when you believe that it's real. Are you niggas gonna take spiritual? What are you gonna do with spirituality, man? Are you gonna spend your whole spiritual journey trying to connect fucking dots? Or you gonna figure out the source of those dots? And then you're gonna figure out the source of those who is observing those dots. There has to be an observer before the dots can be observed. There has to be something who is aware of nothing first before something can be aware. And then there's something that is aware of, that you can be aware of. That simple. You can spend your time trying to learn every ritual, spend your time trying to learn every god. You can spend your time trying to learn every motherfucking spiritual concept all the fuck you want to. Do it. Doesn't make me none. Don't make me one bit of peace. Learn all that shit all the fuck you want to. I say, if you want to listen to me, hey, I say, learn the motherfucking principles. Learn who that I am is. Know the principles. Know consciousness. Know the vital energy. Shakti, prana Shakti. The vital breath. Same thing. Know the mind. Know manas, ahamkara, the cheetah. And what's the last one? Hold up. Yeah, I already said that. Manas. Know the intellect. Know where they come out of. Know the 4 and 5 elements. Know what they come out of, which is akasha, which is space, which is data, which is information. Then you understand this whole makeup. Then you can understand every ancient spiritual teacher, every last one of them. You understand everybody has a different configuration of their elements put together. And that's how you get this body, this shape, this mind, this thought, these patterns that have ruled the life of this body and this mind. So you're gonna get a different pattern from a nigga who grew up in the streets and the projects, gang banging, dope selling, prostitution, cracking, goddamn, all of that shit in his life, versus you'll get from somebody who comes from India teaching. The self is the same in them. The only difference is the body and the mind has been configured with a different degree of elements. Once you understand that, you start look at your patterns, look at your parents' patterns, look at your friends' patterns, look at the world, look at the outside world. Everybody's wearing a fucking mask. And nobody has stopped to ask, who the fuck am I? Hey, no, 100%, 100% what Mothra says. That's why they recommend studying Samkhya before you get into Advaita. And I honestly, I can say that. I can say that. This is a good one. This is a good one. Let's see what we can. Let's see what just. Okay, let's see. This one talks about the evolutes of the sattvic ego, of the sattvic ahamkara. Manas comes into being from the sattvic ahamkara. So, when we talk about the mind, when we talking about the mind, right? So we talking about the mind, which is what manas is. It comes out of the ego into it is the first transformation of the cosmic activity, which has been happening at subtle and causal levels, into a manifest form of prakriti. Mana should not be translated as mind, rather, it is the process of thinking and analysis. It's the product, it's the process of thinking and analysis. The process. So you got to understand the process is subtle. The process is not even physical. You're not even picking up on the process. It's just like a movie. The way a movie is processed, you got so many amounts of film in between it. When you're watching a movie, you think that it's moving simultaneously all together, but it's actually a whole bunch of little bit of pictures, a whole bunch of fixings on the pictures. You don't get to see the process, but the process is there. Obviously, there's people who sit still long enough and observe long enough and can understand what's actually happening here. All right. When you add a thought or an experience, the process is known as manan or reflection. From the first evolute of the sattvic ahamkara, also come the five gyanendriyas, Jnana Indriyas, or the Buddhi Indriyas, the organs of sensory perception, and the five Karma Indriyas, the Karma Indriyas, the organs of actions. Right? So first you have the sensory perception, and then you have the organs of action. The five Gyan Indriyas are Shaksu, the sense of sight or vision, Shravana, the sense of hearing, Gharana, the sense of smell, Rasa, the sense of taste, and Sprasha, the sense of touch. With the Gyanendriyas, you derive understanding of form through seeing. You derive understanding from form. You derive understanding of form through seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. The ears, the the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, and the skin are not the Gyanendriyas, but the organs in which the faculties of the powers of the John Indriyas exist. So this is what we were talking about here. Before you even get to the ears, the nose, the tongue, the eyes, the skin to touch, there's a process prior to that. There's something prior to that before you can even hear. No one who's asking these questions. You just automatically accepted that you can hear, taste, touch, and smell. Who's asking these questions? Who's asking these questions? I'm just saying, understand the principle. See, I know these principles already. I may not be able to, oh yeah, then this and that, but I know there's an actuality of the actual essence of what the power of hearing and seeing, tasting, and touching before you actually get to the actual tool to smell, see, taste, and touch. Guess what? You're gonna figure out that these all go back to the five elements. That's why I keep telling you that your whole fucking existence is based upon your fucking senses, man. Don't you get that? How can you see a spirit if you never had the 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 tool to see? How could you hear the words of a teacher if you had never had the ears to hear? How could you taste the taste of chicken to masala, a fucking chicken gizzards if you never tasted it? How would you know the smell of a incense that puts you into a certain sattvic mood if you never had the sense of smelling? Everything that you could ever know is based off of the fucking illusion that we call Maya. Now, Maya is an illusion in the way that it is perceived, not in its essence. Why do I say not in its essence? Because the essence of Prakriti is Purusha. The essence of Shakti is Shiva. That stillness is the essence by way being covered up, by way through the illusion of individuality, it comes into to see separateness. That's what the illusion is. The illusion is showing you separateness. You think there's separate things and separate people and separate existences. That's the illusion. So, in essence, Maya is not false. That's why I say you'll figure out there is no illusion. But there is an illusion. Illusion to what? To the things that you use to perceive. The ears, the eyes, the nose, and the tongue and skin are not the Janindriyas, but the organs in which the faculties or the powers of the Janindriyas exist. Why are you not getting the motherfucking principles? Where's my other shit? Where's my top with Shooty? That's why, man, come on, man. Trav always get the big, bro. Nigga, 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 nigga. How many times have I showed y'all these goddamn books? How many of you motherfuckers went and got it? At least the PDF. They keep that. Why are they close to me right here? Amongst all this non-dual shit like this. You ain't gonna be. You may be able to. Let me not say that. You may be able to. For me, I went through all that other shit before I got to this. And by the time I got here, it just all made fucking clear sense. Obviously, I went through the whole brother panic phase and a cult phase and Bobby Hemming phase too. So, you know what I'm saying? There was a working up to. Let's not act like it wasn't. There was a so-called working up to. But once you work up to, hold up. Once you work up to, you will figure out there was no working up to because I was always that. I was always that. The whole time. While I think I'm working to become something, I was always that something. There was never nothing to become. There was never nothing to become. There was never nothing to become. So what do we say? Be as you are. Be as you are. Is what we telling you. God damn it. So you understand the tattwas, the purifying of the tattwas, the purifying of the elements. And you understand consciousness and manifest reality or energy, whatever you want to call it. You understand Purusha and Prakriti. Then ultimately you come over here and understand that Purusha and Prakriti are nothing but concepts. The five elements are nothing but concepts. Whole existence is nothing but concepts. And you are that I that is beyond all of that. You understand that here you are that, all in the background, all that, shit, all of that sitting in the background. You understand you are all of that. You are that I that's in the background, and all of that ultimately don't exist. They're nothing but concepts. Everything here is nothing but concepts. You have to understand that, or you don't have to understand that. But one day you will. One day you fucking will. Let's see what we got in top with shooting. Oh, the famous what's the name right there. Let's see. These pages are real thin. See, even in top with shooting, it's showing you that the individual soul is an illusion. The creatrix, or the illusion, or Maya, which they say Maya is already up there, but let's get down to it. Prakriti, you understand that they the same things if you understand. It's under the illusion. Are you niggas is getting this, man? You niggas getting this, man? Your intellect, your ego, your mind stuff, memory, in the process of the analytical process in the mind, so-called the mind. The analytical process they just broke down. Let's read it again. Let's make sure. Well, I ain't gonna be able to find that page again. Yeah, there we go. It says manas should not be translated as the mind, rather translated as the mind. Rather, it is the process of thinking and analysis. So the process of thinking and analysis down here, and then you got the mind stuff. Then you got ahamkara. Then you got the intellect. All under the microcosm, the illusion. Actually, because the illusion starts here. Maya, the illusionary force. But you sit here. You sit here. Up here with Shiva, the stillness, and Shakti, pure energy. Then you get the three what's the names right here, right? These are still the three gunas. The willing force, active force, or the activating force, then the knowing force, jnana. There's jnana right here. You see what I'm saying? This is what we're talking about, jnana yoga. The knowing. Knowing what? That you are this. Maya comes in down here to limit those or put a sheath over those. Then you get to find contractius. I can't fucking say that shit. Concuchus. But all this is a instantaneous process. You understand that, right? It's just an instantaneous. And then then you get down here believing you have the belief of the individual soul. Then you have the creatrix, where you see that nothing comes out of this shit, but all the shit comes out of this. Then you got your 5 elements that come out of the intellect. So understand what I'm telling you when we're talking about these 5 fucking elements. No matter what you can, so if and it's showing you here that out of the intellect, the 5 elements come, or out of the 5 elements, the intellect comes. I would say, right? But nonetheless, those 5 elements can't go past the intellect. And what is this whole existence made out of? The fucking 5 elements. So anything that you're going to be able to understand can't go past that. Or anything that you do understand is not past those things. Right, Mothra? Right. So it's like, who the fuck is more superior than you? who the fuck can be, bro? What can somebody do spiritually besides say more shit? Besides say more shit that ultimately don't mean shit. And I sit here and tell you because I've come to that realization that words are a product of prana. And you are prior to prana. You are prior to that vital force energy. Without vital force energy, there could be no words. And without the observer to know that there is vital force energy, could be no vital force energy. You can make this shit real simple. This spiritual shit can be very fucking simple, bro. Understand this shit. Zero said, even Sadhguru said spirituality is just a child game for someone to realize. That's really it, bro. That's really it. And I understand there's still people, obviously, right? The game still goes on, so there's going to be people who need to run into shit like this, or run into shit like Travis Majors, or run into shit like X, Y, and fucking Z. So it's still being played out here. But I've chose to not make it so fucking intellectual. It don't have to be, bro. Let's see. Let's see 3 gunas. Okay, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Okay, I think this is a good thing to read so we can all understand this shit, right? Oh shit. Oh man. It says, let's go through these. The Anta Karana, right? The inner mind tube, right? It says Buddhi, also known as Ma'at or Mahat, is the highest intelligence which manifests its full potential under the influence of the Sattva guna, the blissful or the balanced aspect of the gunas, of the 3 gunas, right? Then you have ahamkara, the principle, ego, right? The principle of individuality. Look at that hat. Individuality. That's the ego. It's nothing but the ego. The principle of individuality or ego, which emphasizes the existence of the self, right? So, shit, let's go. Manas, the mind or mentality or mental faculty, right? So in some Darshan, they have a different aspect of what mind should be. But at the same time, they both say the same thing. Why? Because it says the mind or the mental faculty of thought or counter thought, right? Then we get into Shita, right? The collection of past impressions or samskaras. It is at this point that matter begins to dominate spirit, giving rise to the multiplicity of creation. Ahamkara gives rise to the gross elements, the indriyas, tanmatriyas, or the subtle essences, and the tattvas, which comprise the physical body. The gross tattvas, which are grouped into numbers of 5, are as follows. No, you good. Don't even worry about being late. Facts, what Zero said. So you understand this. When you understand everybody is a bundle of the intellect, the ego, the mind process of analyzing shit, and past impressions. So if you understand that, don't just take it in a human being understanding. Look at the plants, nigga. The plants are the same thing. Patterns. Look at the so-called planet. It's the same thing. Fucking patterns. It's all motherfucking patterns. And the basis of those patterns. See, what you're getting here is a more content aspect of understanding of the context. The context are going to be the five fucking elements. The context is going to be the five fucking elements. So you need this book, I would say. I would say. You would need this book, I would say. I got those foundational understandings. I didn't even finish the goddamn book. I put the practice into play. Taught with shooting practice. Yes, I did that. So you should do that. Fuck it, do it. Do it. It ain't gonna hurt you. You may have some realization that comes over you. But what I'm saying here is understand the principles of this shit. This is all the shit that I've been saying. It's not saying I'm not saying that I just like profoundly one day was zapped into my goddamn head. I got these understandings here. So everything that I've been telling you is not just some whoop de whoop. It comes from a first principle based understanding of this shit. It's not some cool shit to sound deep on. I don't want to sound deep and more intellectual than you, bro. That don't get me nowhere. Plus, I ain't got nowhere to go. Because once you understand this shit, bro, and you understand that you are not doing anything but observing all of this shit, game over. Well, the game continues. But my attachment to how the game turns out is no longer there. I'm not getting swung on a motherfucking pendulum. Nigga, I'm not getting swung on a pendulum. Nigga, that's the, what else? What the fuck else, bro? What the fuck else? You niggas want to talk about some aliens? You want to talk about Donald Trump and the Epstein files? You want to talk about how AI is taking over? You want to talk about what men shouldn't do? You want to talk about your melanin? You want to talk about dark spirits? You want to talk about light spirits and angels and angles of light? Nothing's wrong with none of that shit. Nothing's wrong with none of that shit. But it ain't got shit to do with self. Those are the contents that exist within the self. It's not the self, it's the content that exists within the self. There's a difference. Hit that like button, y'all. Zero said, "You always give us the principle, the P, and I'm always be thankful to you." Same here, Zero. I'm thankful for y'all. Real shit. To sit here and listen to this shit. Martha says, "I am not the pendulum. I am the law of rhythm itself, nigga. The law of rhythm comes out of I. It is. It's it's like talk hours and hours about music without listening to it. Facts, right? It's like taking a class on fucking music. It's still not music. It's the intellectualization of it. Have you noticed? Like, I had to throw my boy there's a gas station last night. My boy's out there playing the guitar. This is what he told me. Yeah, this is what he told me. Uh, uh, went to throw some dollars over there. I'm like, bro, salute, bro. You know what I'm saying? I like what you're doing. He stopped and told me, say, yeah, man, this shit just all it comes from me. It comes out of me. I don't know how and why it come or where it comes from, but I found out that trying to play other people's music never worked too great for me. I just let it come to me how it comes to me. I'm like, damn, you took lessons to play the guitar? No, I just knew how to play. Now you got this westernized word. That's why I told you the Western world wants to intellectualize and quantify everything. Go take your lessons and this and for some people that's cool. Not understanding it. But some people are gonna start to over intellectualize the shit. Some people just know how to do it. I don't know how. I just know. And the spiritual shit comes the same way for some people. I don't know how. I just know. This and these things are two different things from that realization. Two different things. Two different things. Two different things. Reading music and understanding music theory is two different things from making that guitar sound like something that make a nigga want to walk up to you and put some money in your goddamn bag. Two different things from a nigga who ain't never studied it. That beat that I be playing on the intro here, that I be playing sometimes when I come on the YouTube, that was my homeboy, Long Live Truth, Jermichael Jones. That was my childhood friend. He got killed. That's my childhood friend. This nigga was in fourth grade playing, third grade playing Beethoven. He's in a third grade playing fucking Beethoven, bro. We used to always joke. I'm like, bro, how do you know that? I don't know. I just know. I don't know. I just know. Is that not the same shit we're talking about with the self? You're going to get to that point where you can't answer the question of who am I? Where's the book? Can't find it. Who am I? And you can't answer the question with a word, with a description, with a concept, but you just know. Yes, there may be experiences throughout life where you've seen a piano, you've seen somebody play piano, you've seen somebody touch the piano. Yes, you've seen a guitar, you've seen somebody play the guitar, you've heard the guitar. But then you get to it, you just know. I'm not saying you come out the best, right? The same shit with this spiritual. I'm not saying you come out with the woom, woom, woom. So-called work your way up to it. But you didn't have to intellectualize this shit. And that's what you're doing. And I'm not talking to everybody in the chat. I'm just talking to people in general. What you're doing is you're over intellectualizing spirituality. And that's the exact reason why you're not going to be able to realize itself. You're just going to be an intellectual spiritual nigga. You're going to do your old rituals and keep going about your day and just whatever. Fucking fine and fandy. Fine and dandy. I'm just saying. You have to come to the realization that you are beyond all of this shit, bro. And by the way, it may still be fun to read. It may still be fun to learn other shit as well. But long as you don't forget the principle, bro. Long as you don't forget the principle. It's different when you study and that led you to experience and eventually realization. Facts. Facts. And you got to understand when we have experiences, you got to understand that your experiences are based off of your concepts. If I'm living in a jungle and all I know is jungle spirits, I'm not gonna have an experience of a god that's based off of a fucking desert culture. If I don't even know nothing about a desert, I'm not gonna even have the experience of a god based off a desert culture. And if I'm in a desert culture, I'm not going to have an experience of a god based off of an oceanic culture. So your experiences are going to be based off of your concepts, and your concepts are going to be based off of your past experiences. And your past experiences are going to be based off of the mind. And what's based off of the mind has no choice but to be based off of the five senses. And after the five senses, you have no choice but to understand that there's the five fucking elements. This is first principle based thinking. This is the cosmic P pusher standard operating procedure. That's it. That's the five principle, the cosmic P standard operating procedure to stand on principle. All right? You get that? That's it. That's what we're doing. We're not doing all that extra shit. We understanding the fucking principles first. Yes, five senses, five elements. You got the right to go deeper. I would never tell you not to go deeper. All I would tell you is that, hey, once you go deeper, don't forget the principle. You're going deeper to analyze, vicharia, to investigate. You go deeper to investigate. You go deeper to hold on, give me a second, y'all. So that's really all we need to understand, y'all. I done spent 2 hours on here. We done had the conversation. You got to understand, it was all about starting off with the age of intellect. People have made the intellect more superior. The intellect have become superior. And I'm just telling you to watch out, watch yourself, observe yourself to make sure you're not making the intellect more superior. The intellect is useful for the body to be able to do what it needs to do in everyday basic things. But understand, you are beyond that intellect. The intellect is not the top. It's the top of the illusion. Matter of fact, the intellect is the last battle. And it even shows up in spirituality. Yes, it does. Because will say, meditate on who am I, and you'll come back and say, I am pure consciousness and I am awareness. That's a trick of the intellect. If we're trying to figure out who the self is, and we come back with those type of words, that's still the trick of the illusion. We come back and you see images of Shiva, you see images of fucking Shakti. You come back and you get out of that, still the intellect playing the game. You see in the spirit, you see in a god, you see in a demon, that's still the intellect playing the game. If those things happen, they happen. But what I'm telling you, you have to realize that you are beyond that. You are beyond that. You are beyond Ganesh. Those things have their principle based reality inside of you, the self. That's what I'm telling you. As always, stand on motherfucking principle, and no obstacles will apprehend you. Bitch.